Hi, I'm Ryan Sabino. I'm a clinical fellow at the GC's Wellness Center and a doctoral student in the Shelter Welfare Program at the GC. In this video, I hope to provide a brief overview of a workshop I facilitated entitled What is Mindfulness Really? I'd like to start off by providing a definition of what mindfulness is and isn't. Um, Mindfulness is a practice of accurately and non-judgmentally attending to the present moment. It is not relaxation, nor is it exclusively meditation, although that is one way that someone can practice mindfulness. It's not perfectible, um, and nor is it about ignoring injustice in the world. It's been incorporated into a wide range of psychotherapies for a number of problems, including chronic pain, emotion dysregulation, and rumination or worry, to name a few. Why do we need mindfulness? While painful thoughts and feelings can serve a valuable purpose, so they might be critical signals to us to flee a dangerous situation. Painful thoughts and feelings can also take us out of the present moment. So they might actually make us less effective at navigating challenging situations, or less able to stay present when we're engaging with something that we might otherwise find enjoyable. Most of this workshop is grounded in a therapy modality known as dialectical behavioral therapy that incorporates mindfulness at its foundation. However, it also borrows from some other related types of therapies. DBT is very structured. The structure can be helpful when trying to start to engage in a new deliberate practice, in this case, mindfulness. So along these lines, DBT divides its mindfulness skills into the what and the how skills of mindfulness. And that really lays out how I proceeded with the workshop. The observed observation skill is sort of a pre-verbal skill of mindfulness. So it's really about using your five senses more than anything and bringing your attention back to what you notice. Um, So referring to a mindfulness skill, referring to the observation skill, Linehan, one of the creators of DBT, stated that it's about controlling your attention, but not what you see, pushing away nothing and clinging to nothing. So some examples of useful observation practices include an activity that we tried in the workshop referred to as beginner's mind, as well as an activity known as wordless watching. The describe skill builds on the observe skill. That is, it's helpful to practice observing before describing. Therefore, when you describe, you use your senses to attend to a thought. So you observe, for example, and then you begin to label that thought or feeling using words that describe part of it. When you practice the describing skill, you want to stick to just the facts. However, it's natural, even expected in some instances, that you'll start to feel that it's difficult to exclusively describe without engaging in some kind of judgments. We worked through several examples for the workshop. So one of the examples involved me pulling up an image of an emoji, essentially, and asking the participants to describe that. Um, Often, what will happen when somebody sees a facial expression is they'll sort of infer the emotion. Many people, when they viewed this emoji, described it as angry. The describe skill would prompt you to actually describe in detail, sticking to just the facts. The face was red, the eyes were at a certain angle, the face was at a certain angle. Um, so it really grounds us in just the facts. Um, the underlying implication being that there might be some other reasons why a face would be red or that somebody's expression would look like this. Maybe they have an upset stomach, or perhaps they're in pain, etc. Another straightforward practice to unhook from a thought or a feeling through observation is sometimes referred to as cognitive diffusion, or one type of cognitive diffusion. So if someone was struggling with the thought, I'm such a failure, to create some distance from that thought. They might try to, uh, in a way, rephrase it. I'm having the thought that I'm such a failure, or I'm noticing uh, a pit in my stomach, um, or I'm imagining myself and noticing I'm having the image in my mind of standing in front of an audience and feeling physically nervous. Um, the participate skill involves immersing yourself in an activity completely. For an example, if you're going to eat, you'd practice eating 100%, focusing on the flavors and the textures, the temperatures. If you're going to walk, walking. If you're going to read, reading. So the phenomenological experience of participating fully in the present moment is something like a flow state. If anybody's heard that term previously. There's not exactly one exclusive skill that is particular to participation. However, you could participate in any number of activities fully. So you might find it helpful to engage with a physical activity. Often people will find that very grounding. So in the workshop, we did a progressive muscle relaxation exercise. The how skills of mindfulness include engaging non-judgmentally, one mindfully and effectively in mindfulness. Um, so in terms with the non-judgmental approach to mindfulness, we want to try to practice being non-judgmental even when we make a judgment, which sounds kind of ironic. It's inevitable, or likely, if not inevitable, um, that we're going to engage in some judgments, and that we want to try to approach those self-compassionately as well, so that we don't judge our judgments, and end up in kind of a loop. Um, One way to practice engaging with thoughts and feelings non-judgmentally would be to pull out a pen or paper or a computer and to make two columns. You can label one column description and the other one judgment. Then as thoughts and feelings arise, you can sort them into descriptions in the one column and judgments on the other. And you could try to work through the judgments, which might be things that sort of label a thought or a feeling as right or wrong, good or bad. And you can try to restructure them into observations and descriptions that you could describe with your five senses. Engaging in a task one mindfully involves practicing staying grounded in the present moment, and unhooking yourself from the past and future. And again, self-compassionately reorienting yourself to the present moment when your attention inevitably drifts. Some examples of activities that you might attempt to engage with in one mindfully include things like everyday chores, washing the dishes or folding your laundry, or even activities like improv can be very one mindful for people. And the final part of the how skills involves effectively engaging in skills. So to act effectively, you must first consider your goals and then determine what you need to do to accomplish those goals. So it's not about right or wrong per se, it's about doing what works. And it's critical here to align your skills that you're using with the actual situation and not your desired situation. So a crucial yet often misunderstood approach to doing this is this concept of radical acceptance. Although an in-depth exploration of that and all the nuance is probably too extensive for this summary. Um, but with radical acceptance, it's helpful to keep in mind the so-called serenity prayer. It often comes up for people if they're in AA. But it goes something like, grant me the serenity to accept the things I can't change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So that's really a pretty good encapsulation of radical acceptance practices. Thank you for taking the time to watch this summary of my workshop, What is Mindfulness Really? And I wanted to plug the services available at the Wellness Center, including individual counseling, couples counseling, various support groups, and periodic workshops on topics like this were located in room 6422 of the GC.